Greetings, warrior. I know who you are. I know what you are. Not because the world shouted your name, but because I recognize the fire in your silence. That heavy quiet you carry, it isn't emptiness. It's the weight of 1,000 unsaid truths, the weight of every moment you stayed still when you could have screamed. There's a difference between being quiet because you have nothing to say, and being quiet because you've already decided that words will never be enough. They thought your silence was defeat. They thought ignoring you would starve you of strength. They didn't understand that the silence was feeding you, making you sharper, colder, more dangerous. Do you remember the first time they underestimated you? The first time they looked right through you like you weren't even there? That was the day they unknowingly placed a weapon in your hands. Every dismissal was a lesson. Every absence was a training ground. While they were laughing, you were building. While they were speaking, you were listening. Not to them, but to yourself. The truth they don't want you to hear is this: silence is the greatest forge of power known to man, not applause, not validation, not being seen. No. It's the hidden hours, the nights no one asks about, the mornings when no one sees you rise. That's where power is made. They thought you had stopped, but you were only still on the outside. Inside, storms were building. Inside, the foundations of your empire were being laid brick by brick. The loud are easy to predict, but the quiet are lethal because they strike without warning, and by the time you hear them, it's already over. Your silence wasn't weakness, it was focus. It was the narrowing of vision until only one target remained. It was the compression of pain into fuel so dense nothing could extinguish it. They couldn't hear the wars you were fighting in your own head. They couldn't see the armor you were forging from rejection. They couldn't feel the weight you were learning to carry, the weight they thought would crush you. And now, you have become something else entirely. Not a victim, not someone waiting for their turn. You are the turn. You are the moment they didn't plan for. You are the silence given teeth. There's a reason the most powerful people in history didn't spend their time explaining themselves. Because the moment you start explaining, you start asking for understanding. And you stopped asking for anything a long time ago. So let them keep pretending you're not there. Let them enjoy their comfort. Every time they leave your name out of the story, they make the ending that much more devastating. Because when you finally move, when you finally break the silence, it won't be a whisper that comes from your mouth. It will be thunder. It will be fire. It will be the sound of every second they wasted thinking you were nothing. They will ask where you came from. They will ask how you became unstoppable. And you will tell them the truth. You forged me in silence. And now I speak in storms. I know who you are. I know what you've endured, not because the world told me, but because I've seen the way silence changes a person. I've seen what it does to the eyes, that heavy, unmoving quiet you carry. It is not emptiness. It is the weight of 1,000 moments you could have spoken, but didn't. 1,000 times you could have begged, but refused. 1,000 storms you contained within your own chest until they became something else, something unstoppable. They thought your silence was surrender. They thought ignoring you would erase you. They thought if they left you in the shadows long enough, you'd fade away. But they misunderstood what silence does to certain people, because some break in the quiet and some sharpen. Every second you spent unheard, you were hardening. Every unanswered word was iron cooling into steel. Every closed door was another wall for you to push against, and with each push, your strength multiplied. They thought they were weakening you. They were feeding you. They were training you without even knowing it. You see, silence is not the absence of power. Silence is the breeding ground of it. It is where the weak are exposed and the strong are forged. In silence, there is no distraction, no false comfort, no applause to dull your hunger. It is just you, your thoughts, and the weight of the truth. And truth, when faced alone, will either break you or make you untouchable. They didn't see the war happening in your head. They didn't hear the battles you fought in your own heart. They didn't watch the scars forming on the inside, the kind that no one claps for, the kind that no one comforts, the kind that makes you dangerous. While they lived in noise, you were mastering the art of patience. While they wasted their energy being seen, you were building something that could not be ignored. Understand this. The loud can be predicted. They announce their every move. They broadcast their intentions. They beg for recognition. But the quiet are lethal. They move unseen. They act without warning. And by the time the world realizes what they've become, it's already too late. You were not idle. You were loading the weapon, drawing the bowstring back further than anyone thought possible. Every insult, every dismissal, every betrayal, you pulled it further. And now, when you release, it will not be a warning shot. It will be final. There's a reason the strongest leaders, the most feared warriors, the most unshakable forces in history moved in silence. It's because they understood something most never will. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop asking for permission. And the moment you stop asking for permission, you become unstoppable. Let them think you've disappeared. Let them believe you've given up. That belief is the soft bed they sleep on at night, and they have no idea it's about to be set on fire. Because one day soon, you will break the silence, not with excuses, not with explanations, but with results so undeniable that their only option will be to bow or be crushed. They will ask where you came from. They will ask how you became this. And you will look them in the eyes and say, "You forged me in silence, and now I speak in storms." So remember this, warrior. Your silence is not their victory. It is your weapon. It is the cocoon before the wings, the chamber before the bullet, the stillness before the earthquake. One day soon you will move. And when you do, they will wish they had listened when they had the chance. I know you, not because the world spoke your name, but because I have seen what silence does to a soul. I have seen it in the eyes, that stillness that is not peace, but control, that quiet that is not weakness, but calculation. You carry it too. I can feel it. You didn't choose silence at first. It was given to you, forced on you. They cut you out of the conversation. They left you out of the story. They pretended you didn't exist, as if their denial could erase you. At first, it hurt. At first, you wanted to speak, to scream, to demand they see you. But over time, something changed. You learned there is a point where words are wasted, a point where explaining yourself is nothing more than begging for recognition from those who will never give it. And so you stopped. You stopped talking. You stopped proving. You stopped reaching for a hand that was never coming. In that silence, you discovered something they could never imagine. The stillness wasn't a coffin. It was a forge. While they forgot you, you remembered yourself. While they underestimated you, you over-prepared. In silence, the noise of the world died away, and what was left was pure focus. They thought you were idle, but you were sharpening. Every ignored message was a hammer strike against steel. Every unanswered call was a weight added to the bar. Every betrayal was fuel thrown into the furnace. They thought they were starving you, but they were feeding the hunger they could not control. The truth is this: silence is the perfect teacher. It forces you to listen to the only voice that matters, your own. It forces you to see who you are without applause, without validation, without comfort. And if you can survive that, you become unstoppable. They didn't see the battles you fought in the quiet hours. They didn't see the armor forming beneath your skin. They didn't see the empire you were building brick by brick while they were too busy laughing. And when people can't see what you're building, they can't stop it. That is the power of the quiet. That is the power of the unseen. By the time the world realizes what you are, it's already too late. One day, warrior, you will move. One day, you will step from the shadows you mastered. And when you do, the ground will remember your weight. The air will shift around you. The world will understand that silence was not the absence of a voice. It was the loading of a weapon. When you speak again, it will not be to explain. It will not be to ask. It will not be to remind them who you are. Your voice will come with proof in its shadow, and your presence will leave no room for doubt. They will ask, where did you come from? How did you become this? And you will tell them the truth. You forged me in silence, and now I speak in storms. Let them keep ignoring you. Let them keep your name from their lips. The longer they pretend you don't exist, the harder the truth will hit when it arrives. And arrive it will. Because you are no longer waiting for their permission. You are no longer living for their acknowledgement. You are the quiet before the destruction, the shadow before the dawn, the stillness before the earthquake. And when you finally break the silence, the world will understand why it should have listened when it had the chance.